Yeah, I think for IAP, they might be a bit relieved because they still have the Bane to get the grip off onto the Ember. And as you said, the Mars could try to blink up and focus on the Bane. I'm not sure if you can always find that angle, as IAP also had that same sort of mindset where, like, yeah, we can kind of take care of the Bane. We've got a Monkey King, we've got a Tide, and they just never managed to get a grip. So I'm keen to see if IAP will be able to protect their positioning on the Bane. That's likely our Kimo here as well. And if Kimo will have the same performance we saw Ace 12 have in that Bane, I think it's going to be really important for him to get that control onto the Ember. IAP do go into the Invoker pick now, so they've got their own sort of global presence. The lane matchup against the Ember Spirit's not too bad as well. I think that's a manageable lane for the Invoker. We've seen that many times. And it is a lane that you can be aggressive on as well if a support rotation comes out. And that's where IAP supports shine. You've got Bane, you've got Snap. They can make some really impactful early movements out to mid if you want to pin that Ember down before he hits his level 6 spike.
That's fair. We'll go through the final banouts now between these two teams. Of course, both teams currently looking for a position 1, it seems. See what Lilgun want to try and prioritize for their bans. I mean, just based off that last game, it honestly felt like regardless of draft, Lilgun just had the advantage. It's a big thing with Division 2 teams, right? Like these lesser known teams, it's generally just win out the lanes, and from that point on, you can just kind of snowball no matter what kind of draft you have going. I think IAP just really need to ensure that these lanes go the way they want. Rather than what happened last game where we did see no matter what heroes they put up against each other, Lilgun was just coming out on top anyway.
Yeah. It does feel like, again, Lilgun, I mean, they've had experience, right, in the upper div. They did get demoted, but they still were an upper div team. They climbed from the lower div last time as well. So they've got that potential every single time. I think that does mean that even though, they're a relegated team, you have to respect that. And IAP, I mean, they looked hot coming in from the closed qualifiers. They had decent performance in the open qualifiers number 2 as well. But it does feel like despite them having those previous results in other tournaments, maybe the experience there is just not holding up, I mean, the teams they might have played against in those tournaments were on a different scale except for Execration. Beyond that, I think there might be more that they need to dig into the pool here. So we'll see. I mean, with the Invoker out, you have a couple of combinations for IAP. Faces Void could be one choice, and we've seen Marb take it, and they banned a Wraith King on Lilgun, so a Void pickup could still come out for IAP. They've got the Kisses Chrono, they've got the Cataclysm as well, and that could be one way for IAP to go in. It's just a very wombo combo play, and I think when you've got a lineup that relies on one very strong teamfight combo, if you don't pull the teamfight off, your entire lineup just looks flat. So it's a bit of a risk if IAP do want to go for the Void play, but again, we've seen Marb play it out a couple of times now, and I think that might be what IAP is considering.
Yeah, fair enough. IAP, they'll have a think about this final ban out now, as we do have NFT John back, Jonathan. You look very pretty right now. Very, very good to see. Lilgun, they'll go down the Void route. Oh, there goes NFT John as well. You're back to normal, unfortunately. I do appreciate, I do love it when your camera starts playing up, John. Makes me so, so happy.
Yeah, that does happen. Internet connection with Australia can sometimes be shoddy, but I'm surprised Lilgun went for the Void themselves. Again, it's sort of soft banning it from IAP because their lineup's a very strong Void lineup. And that does explain the Wraith King ban as well, because, Wraith King's one of the Void counters in a way that Reincarnation kind of forces the Void to make a choice with when to use that Chrono and when to focus the Wraith King. So you've already got a strong lineup on Lilgun's end. They don't have the best combinations with a Chrono, which can be concerning, but I don't think that's the big point. And IAP go into the Terrorblade instead, so they don't have the big combinations with the Kisses anymore without Chrono on their side, but they've got a great target to pump out Alacrity onto, to buff up, to get some good spikes. The core-to-core matchup is tough for Void, but if Lilgun can play as aggressive as they did in Game 1, a mix of patience while waiting for farm, and then just instant aggression once they hit some farm timings, I think they can overwhelm IAP. IAP, this is a much safer draft. They've got ways to be aggressive with Escod, and Matthew and the Snapfire can kind of work that lane together with Escod. They have to secure Marb's farm. Like, they have to ensure our Terrorblade's lane goes well, and up against a Mars lane with potentially the Eye or even a Grimstroke. Like, either duo is very scary because of the Inkswell combination or just the Tether overcharge on Mars. I think you have to ensure that Marb gets as much as he can. Of course, even down the line, Bulwark's going to be cutting off a lot of the damage of Marb as well. So I think Lilgun, have a lot of ways to go about that. It's not quite the pocket picks we talked about from Lilgun. You know, they don't have the Husker, they don't have Brooder, like, and those were banned out. But it's still a very stable lineup. And I think, as you pointed out, Mike, it does feel like Lilgun might just have the better players. So IAP is going to have to really work hard to show and prove us that we're wrong.
I didn't say the better players, John. I just said they were winning out the lanes pretty hard. So I suppose that might mean better players. But you're a lot harsher than I am, Jonathan. I try to sugarcoat things. You know, I try to be nice. You just go straight for the jugular, as you always do. Talk to me about drafts, though, Jonathan. Regardless of the players, I'll ask you the hard question, as people like to phrase it. Who has the better draft, in your opinion, going into this game number 2?
Draft-wise, it's hard to say. I think the IO is just super valuable when you don't have something to block off relocate. So if you don't have Glimpse, if you don't have X marks the spot, the IO saves will be really annoying to play into. But I think the issue for Lilgun is that they have a Void with no combinations in it. So that can fall flat as well. I think it's really even on drafts. I'd lean towards IAP draft-wise, but I think Lilgun has the capabilities to make that a non-factor. There's always the wild card factor of Morb's Terrorblade, which he does perform on, so it's a lot of back and forth, Mike.
Okay, fair enough. We'll get into a game number 2, and we'll see if IAP can force us to a game number 3, or whether Lilgun will be leaving tonight with a 2-0 victory against IAP. I'm going to say these team logos are very confusing for me, Jonathan, as well. They look so darn similar. They both have to go for a black and white logo.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, could nobody get some color in there, John? Could you not just contact them? And you're an animator, John. You could get it done.
No, they want the black and white. They're all serious, all business, you know? I do miss the old Lilgun logo. Remember, it was like that, what was it? Like a raccoon almost with a gun?
I liked it too.
Or something, right? It was adorable. It was menacing and adorable. It made you kind of underestimate Lilgun. Now they're all serious mode. This kind of reminds me of Team Faceless almost, the logo, right? Like, if you remember that, the Singaporean stack with Ice and black.
I remember.
It does remind me of that. And then, of course, the IAP logo is like a fork of Execration's logo with a skull. In fact, it does look like Execration's old logo. So, you know, just staying edgy there, staying, you know, fearsome with logos, trying to send messages here back and forth.
You know, John, with these images being copied, you wouldn't have this problem with an NFT, John. Yeah, the image becomes yours. Just for these teams out there, you know, you want to secure your logos, just make it an NFT.
If you say so, Mike.
John, you're a big fan of the NFT community as well. You'd be able to really tell them how to get it done.
Oh, sure am, Mike. Sure am. Big on the NFTs, but I don't think it's the same NFT that you're talking about. I don't think I can quite say what the acronym stands for me, but yes. Let's see. We're breaking out here. The bounties are very even, Mike. To start, and the lanes will break out. We are seeing, again, our IO on the offlane. So the Mars IO combination that we've seen time and time again across multiple teams run. Tether to keep your bulky offlaner safe. Once you have overcharge, bump up his damage. They are up against Marb and Kimo on the Bane and Terrorblade. So, again, Terrorblade should be able to hold the lane. We see that early refraction leveled up by Marb, as we tend to see from Terrorblades now going into lane. And that does mean you don't have that instant metamorphosis clear out the creep wave. And again, the emphasis here is on Kimo to zone them out, but looks like he's going to be copying a little bit more. Remember, when you trade like this, the IU will always heal that Mars up very quickly. So you have to be careful how far you commit.
It's not necessarily a very fun lane for the Pos 5 Bane, because you just feel like you get nothing done. Even with all the damage it can pump out, as you kind of mentioned, Kishka, as long as he's not the one taking too much damage, always just be able to passively keep 11 up. Of course, over in the mid lane though, John, you've got Sanctity against Yona. For now, Yona having a decent enough time, Sanctity doing the same. Do you give the advantage to one or the other here in this mid lane?
I think it's a very, very even lane, back and forth wise. Like, maybe Yona can play around with the Tornado. That's when you can kind of work it out, burn through that Flame Guard and take control of the lane. But if you don't manage to land it, Sanctity can just kind of dance around, kind of build up, and run around from there. I think the key thing in this matchup is rune control. So Sanctity has a little bit more emphasis on early runes. Invoker's not really a rune hero. You know, he's not a bottle carrier, per se. So he can kind of ignore it, and that should give Sanctity maybe a little bit more leeway to keep topped up on the bottle and keep that laning presence up. Otherwise, very even. It's all down to plays, right? This is a very mechanics-based back and forth. If the Invoker can land his spells, he wins out. If Sanctity manages to dodge most of it and play with a Flame Guard, he's not going to miss out on too much as well. So even lane heroes wise, it's all down to how well either side pushes their hero to the limit.
Hear me out, John. I think Invoke has become too easy as the years have gone on. What if we reverted back to Dota 1 Invoke with like 28 spells? I think that's the way to do it. Just 27 spells and just let everyone just go ham. It doesn't matter if they're all useless. Who the hell cares? Just get it done.
Oh, I'd love to see it. You know, that was the time when the order mattered, right? When you invoked with the orbs.
Yeah.
Like the very specific order. Oh my god. I wouldn't even learn Invoker. I would just give up. I would just stop, Mike. I'd be done. I can't.
Amateur. Absolutely. I was back in those days, John. I was playing Invoker when it first came out. I had to do it the hard way.
Oh, all right, Mike. No need to show off how old you are, Mr. Ancient Mike. You know, just because you look young doesn't mean you are young. Calling you out.
Of course, bot lane as well. You've got Matthew on the Snapfire with Escort on the Pango against 4-2-3 and Ace 12. This laning phase could be a little bit dangerous for IAP. Like, you do have the Time Walk and the Inksword combo. With the silence along with it, Escort or Matthew could be quite susceptible to getting caught out and just dying.
Yeah, it's not the easiest lane to actually be aggressive for Escort and Matthew. Like, you do have good mobility jumping in, but because of the window of the Time Walk and because you've got the Time Dilation, it can be hard to spam out your spells. So it's ending up to be a bit more of a passive lane. You are getting decent CS on both sides, so you're not quite slowing down the Pangolier as well, but the important thing for Lilgun is just to get a smooth ride for the Void. It's always the laning phase that's hardest for the face's Void, and so far there's just not enough pressure to make 4-2-3 think twice about his Time Walk use. Just very well protected, as you mentioned, with Inkswell, counterplay there. They can't really fully commit onto the Void. It just makes it very hard for IAP to find the angle. So the passive lane is really to the benefit of Lilgun. And as long as 4-2-3 manages to hit that Power Tread's Mask of Madness timing, he's going to be able to keep up and farm down the line.
Kimo. Bane going for a bit of a cheeky ward, I think. We'll run into Sanctity there for a second, but doesn't end up dropping any wards in that triangle. Not quite yet anyway. Looking back up to that top lane, John, Marb's having a really rough time. He's on 5 CS right now. I haven't seen this poor of a last hit performance for a while, John. I mean, 7 to 18 at the moment. That is insane.
Yeah, it's not an easy time. Again, when you have overcharge up, you just use God's Rebuke and the Spear and melt so much HP, and Marb is just never safe here.
I mean, he'll try to run, but they'll be happy to just leave him on low HP. Kimo now trying to harass back Kishka, but in the end cannot secure the kill. And 11, he's just doing a fantastic job of just denying off creeps away from the TB. He's just kept Marb so unhealthy and quite poor here on this Terrorblade. I mean, sure, you always got the jungle to go back to later on anyway, but you generally want that little kind of a boost before you get into that jungle.
Yeah, and it's not like there's been a lot of stacks built up by Kimo as well. Like, he hasn't been able to spend time in top jungle. No one's really rotated into the bottom triangle as well, as our Matthew's been tied up in the Snapfire. So the recovery farm for Marb is going to be a bit slower. They need to kind of start considering those stacks, but with Lilgun's draft, they have a lot of ways of clearing out those stacks as well if they do get contested, so it's still a bit of a risk. I think Lilgun, again, are just finding that early laning start they want. No kills coming out, but that does tend to work in the favor of Lilgun. You saw it in Game 1, Mike. It was a very slow first 18 minutes of the game, and then once they get their item timings, it just goes off to a snap. I think that's what Lilgun wants. They just want that stable start, build their foundation up, and just get running when they hit their item spikes.
Oh, when you're winning the lanes this hard, you don't need to go for kills, so they will try now. Onto Matthew, a nice dodge on the Scatter Blast, and 4-2-3. So able to set up there with Ace 12. They'll be able to secure the first blood as we were just speaking about it. But really, they just don't need to. And when you know 4-2-3's having this good of a safe lane, and you know how badly the safe lane of the Die is going, why even go for kills? Just hit creeps and just outscale them later.
Yeah, I mean, this is a massive disparity, Mike. 24-3 on 4-2-3 and 9-1 on Marb. I haven't seen a Terrorblade this far behind in a very long time. So Marb, this is something he plays a lot of, but he's going to have to find a way to recover as the game's just not getting any easier for him.
Oh, 4-2-3, he's gone a bit too far now though. He time walks right into 2 and he gets punished for it just as we were praising him. I'm not sure what that time walk was about, but just a little bit overly confident there against Escort. And of course Matthew, and he does end up getting disarmed and punished immediately as Ace 12 was not close enough to try and help out. Even with that death though, John, he's still well and truly ahead of this Terrorblade, so I guess in the end there's no real problems here for Lilgun. As Marb, he's the one that needs to catch up on this TB right now. Just so far behind. It's 11 now, gonna make the jump in with the spear out onto that T1 tower. Marb's gonna try to run, but he is all on his own. Fairy Fire up, but it's not gonna help. 11 just so dominant. Now Kimo, he shows up, but as the Bane, you can't leave the lane like that. Not when the lane's gone this badly.
No, I'm not sure what Kimo was really hoping to achieve as well. He went in to drop a ward on the triangle cliff area, and it's a good scouting ward, but Lilgun's not looking to build up stacks themselves. They don't, and they can clear out with their Mars, but it's not really a priority for them.
Oh, look at Kimo. I mean, maybe this is why he's not here, John. Just the amount of damage they're pumping out is way too high for the Bane to deal with. And they're still going. Kimo, he thinks he's safe for now, but 11 is on the chase. Spear is back up, and if he does land it, he might just have enough damage, and he does.
Oh.
What a spear out from 11. Gets the tip from Kishka. Marb's going to rotate now, but I'm not sure he can actually get this done. He's got the mana up, but look at the amount of damage 11's doing. Another spear out going to land onto the tree line. How's he finding these angles, John? Yona's going to pop up. Cold Snap and EMP should be just enough to get the job done. But hell, if you're 11 right now, you're more than happy with what's happened to this top lane. You don't mind dying like that.
Oh, you definitely don't. You force a rotation out from the mid. Yona does have the urn, so he does get some value there, getting charges up, but they still manage to pressure down bot. Again, 4-2-3. Just very hard to pin down. He's got the chrono.
He does have the chrono, but he was disarmed right at the start, and he's not getting very lucky with bashes. In the end, Escort going to prove to be a little bit too tanky to actually take down, but now with 11 coming in, we've seen this man before with another arena spear out. He just quickly cleans up Escort. I'll tell you, this Mars, this performance, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a perfect game for 11. I don't think we've seen an IO Mars work out this well in a very long time. So Lilgun showing us again just how well they know their combinations, how well they can work to the limit. And they just never rest. They've got Relocate already up in Kishka, so they can be all across the map whenever that spell is up, and this is the point where they can keep going despite not having that initial farm. Down mid though, they're trying to make a play on Sanctity.
EMP, they don't drink quite enough. Oh, they do, but Sanctity's still going to try and fight a little bit before he tries to back out. Tornado will land. Matthew, he's going to be there, but a nice quick dodge from the Sleight of Fist. Very, very close, but not close enough for IAP. They will be forced to back off, and well, Sanctity, he will be fine to just remain in the mid lane and keep that farm up. And in the meantime, you've got 11 and Kishka, who just continuously take that top tier 1 tower, and there is no defense coming.
No, and they don't really have the best ways of stopping the Mars at this point. So a free tier 1 coming out for Lilgun. You're already starting to jungle here for Marb, but again, there haven't been many large stacks built up by Kimo. He hasn't been able to focus in on the jungle and build up for the recovery farm or for TB, so it's a slow process for Marb. And even the triangle is just completely warden, and they're keeping that movement up mid.
Arena's back up. Marb, he did not see them. The nighttime vision was just too low as Marb. He's going to try and make a way out, but oh, there's just no chance. With the armlet up on 11, he's just hitting too hard. The bonus attack speed from Kishka just makes it so easy to get rid of this TB.
Yeah, they've just got so much damage. Like overcharge
mid lane
at level 3 is just too much hope.
Oh, Sanctity. He tried to get Matthew, but the cold snap, along with the little shredder, made it so he could not get the right click off. And Yona, he was just more than fine.
Yeah, just a bit on edge, but I still think it's worthwhile to shut down the TB, even if you're sacrificing your Ember in the process. Like, this is still a big win for Lilgun up top. Lane's just constantly shoved in. The jungle's denied off from the presence of these two heroes. And again, the triangle here from IAP, Mike, it's already been sentryed up. Like, they've got the sentries down. There are no stacks that can be built up. They've got 2 obs wards from Lilgun just watching the area. There's no recovery to be had here for IAP. There's just no jungle to really play with.
Certainly is not, John.
Was that
We do have a bit of lag being called out here from Lilgun. See how long that takes to get fixed up, as I believe it was IAP last time around that was experiencing some lag. Still, I mean, with the state of this game, Lilgun's having a great old time. I mean, 4-2-3 is still well and truly ahead of Mob right now. The Void vs TB matchup. I'd say the only good thing going for IAP right now is the fact that their Invokers had a very good game. Second in net worth at the moment here on Yona. We'll just see what kind of impact he has later on, though, because last game he also had a fairly good laning phase, but it just did not transition into a good mid game.
And I think it's a bit worrying that, sure, your Invoker is getting farm, but what do you really have to build up with the Invoker? Say he rushes Ags, but you don't have the combination for Cataclysm, so it's not going to be a huge team fight. Maybe you can focus in on an Orchid build, although...
They're trying for the Fiend's Grip, but no, it's too obvious. And now the Relocate's coming in, right in onto Yona. Tornado is out on time, but the Spear is off the mark. Yona now might try to turn back in onto Kishka, but they've already found Chemo on the Bane as Kishka is still trying to dance around. He'll get the tether off, back on the Mast, and they're relocating right back out as now Sanctity. He's been left behind, but he's got remnants to play with, or maybe not, but he's got Ace-12 to back him up, and now 11 shows up. They'll try for the Snapfire, but it won't matter because they got Yuna instead. And Kimo still having that impact. That's all they're going on to now. Well, Matthew, he'll get Chronon up along with Escort. They'll move back in onto the Pango, but now Marp shows up. A full 5v5 team fight in the mid lane. Kimo, he's got the Fiend's Grip off, but it's doing absolutely nothing. 4-2-3 still alive. They can't get the kills off. No, he time walks back in. He's going to go for the kill on Marp, and he's got him. Oh, he gambles for the kill. Eventually, he will end up going down, and so does 11. But that's a very ballsy play from 4-2-3 to try and kill off Marb. I don't know if I can even call it worth, John. They may have even found another. Sanctity now, he has one Remnant, but he does not have the mana to use it. So he will end up going down, and a triple kill will go the way of Escort. And that does feel like it favors IAP.
Yeah, it works out in IAP's favor, but I think Lilgun still manages to find enough that it's a lot more even than you'd want it to be for IAP. Still, net worth lead is kind of neutralized to 1k, and there's an opportunity now for IAP to play for mid. You know, they can try melting the towers with a little Shredder. They have to be a bit cautious. There's not many long cooldowns here on Lilgun outside of Chrono. Even Arena is a relatively short cooldown, and in a few short seconds, 11's going to be ready to go again with a relocate, so you have to watch yourself. Sanctity playing down bot as well, just keeping tabs onto Marb. Big issues here are still that farm build up on the TV. Like, he's still not able to really build up. He's behind even the Ember in farm, even behind Sanctity in farm. Sanctity's been so active on the map here.
That's rough, John. I mean, almost 4k net worth here for Marv, but just not where he wants to be at the moment. In bot lane, they're going to try and make a play onto Sanctity. He'll have those remnants this time around to be able to make his escape. Still more heroes coming in to try and catch out this Ember. But consider the commitment to try and kill off Sanctity. Consider the fact that 4-2-3 and 11 are just farming across the map just fine. As Escort, he does spot out Sanctity, but they need some kind of stun to lock him down. Kisses around, but 11 showing up now with the relocate. They've got Escort, and what an arena round 11. He's caught 3 heroes. They're all trapped up. Bob, he's going to try and back himself out of there, but how can he? He'll try to sunder. Yona's shown up now as well, but another spear is going to land onto the Terrorblade and Marb, just barely out of there, surely not, and he will eventually go down as 11 does finally drop, but now they can really clean up as Sanctity, he has Kishka there to heal him back up. They'll go on to Yona. Yona does not want to die like this, not on the Invoker, but it looks like he's got no choice in the matter. As Sanctity, no, he won't be able to get the job done. Not quite yet. Yona, he'll turn right back around. In the meantime, Matthew does secure a kill onto Kishka, and Sanctity, well, he needs his own escape plan, but he's not going to get it. Escort gets him completely blind. And in the end, going after Yona, it does cost them heavily.
And that's a much better trade now for IAP. They still sacrifice their Terrorblade, but they are getting a lot more farm pouring through the rest of their sides, and they'll be able to find a bot tier 1 to equalize map control a bit. So it looked like good counterplays from Lilgun. It was still punished in the end, and it looks like the side of IAP now are ready to go on the offensive. They've got the smoke up, they've got the grip ready to go again on Kimo. No kisses out, but if they could control, they should find another.
Ace-12 gonna get taken down. Escort having a much better game thus far here on the Pango, sitting at 6-2-1. Problem is, John, while all that was happening down at the bot lane, 4-2-3 and 11, they get started on the Roshan. And with that DD rune on 11, it's not gonna take them too long. I don't believe IAP has any idea this is happening. That'll be a pretty big loss here for IAP if they do get away with it.
Yeah. It's going to be a freebie coming out. 11 picks up Aegis as well. So our Mars can really play on the front lines, not care too much about being focused down, and just kind of figure out the timing of his arena from there. The side of IAP, they're still in the game. You know, they're 2k behind, but it's not too bad. The big hurting point is still Mar, but they're trying to buy him space at least.
EMP, 11 gonna lose half his mana pool. Not too bad as now chains are out. They got the spear again onto the Invoker. And Yona, he's a big kill to get. That's about all they get. That's a great one to have here for Lilgun as Escort is going to show up, but chains are out again at 11. He's not done yet. He's back in onto the Pango. They've got another. Surely he's trying to mech up, trying to survive. The Nightmare even there, but it's just not enough as now they even found Matthew. Another kill onto another support. They'll get Matthew down. They'll go for another. Why not pick up Kimmo as well? It's a 4-for-0 trade, and it was all just one by IAP.
Yeah, they just run in. The fight was very staggered coming out from IAP. And Lilgun just clean up. They're very confident with the Aegis up. They managed to clear out the mid-tier 1 so they have complete control of that top jungle if they want to drop the wards. And while all of that happens, 423 just free farms. So our Void's still building up, has the Mask of Madness up, going into the Maelstrom next, which should be flying in now. And now you even have damage in the Chrono. So you've got a lot of options here for Lilgun to keep aggression. There's still a lack of space here for Marb. He's playing bot as best as he can, but he's being hunted down.
He is. Gonna be spotted now. The relocate is gonna be immediate with the chains out and the silence. Tornado gonna buy him a little bit of time, but not anywhere near enough as Yona. He tried to help out, but now he's been targeted down. He is the prey as they will chain him up. Kimmo, he'll move in with the Nightmare, and that might be enough to force them back, but they've got the arena with the spear out. They landed onto Yona. What was that arena first or Sentry Ward first, John? I didn't get to see which one was dropped first. In fact, hold that thought, because 423 has been caught out and does end up going down. They do at least get a pretty big kill on the side of IAP. God, I wish we had an instant replay, John.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was so well timed. I think the arena came first, then the sentry went down right after.
Wow.
But it felt like the spear was also instantly after arena. So it just felt like he knew where they were going, and now Escott.
Yeah, he's gone. 11, I mean, he has performed this game, John. 11 out of 10, I'd say. Excuse the pun. So we do go mid lane. Matthew gonna get chains up. Sanctity, he's gonna be there, and Matthew, well, he'll try his best to run. Little Shredder will take off the silence, but eventually Ace 12 will pick up the kill anyway. No problems here for Sanctity. And Ace 12 will move right into that mid-tier 2 tower now. IAP. We saw this last game, John. It's that mid-game timing that they don't seem to be able to put up with here against Lilgun. It's a very early timing to lose your mid-tier 2 tower. Yona's trying to defend, but even the creep wave won't die. Back now, Kimmo. Gonna get caught. Another nice spear there from 11. That should be a nice, easy Bane kill here for Lilgun. Question is, can they get out? In fact, never mind getting out 11. He wants to keep going. He's got Yona again on the Invoker. Spear not available, but there it is. It does come out at the last moment. Rolling Thunder. It's not there in time. 11 does get the kill. They do at least kill off Ace 12 and go back after Kishka, but he's still alive and still just fine to go back in after 11 and heal him up, keep him healthy. As Kimmo, he did buy back into this team fight, but he can't get anything done. In fact, they've even found more targets. Matthew, he'll try to get himself out, but the spear is there into the tier 3 tower in 11. He just does not know when to stop. He may need to find out though, as he's dropping low himself, but he's got the Aegis up. He'll be fine to respawn and get a reset, and they might just keep it up.
Absolutely perfect.
Just pure aggression from Lilgun and IAP. They just do not have an answer.
Yeah, they don't have the tools to come in. I think, again, when we saw this draft, Mike, we were expecting, Kimmo maybe picking up some notes from Ace 12 with his positioning on the Bane. We haven't seen the big grips come true. We haven't seen that control come out on the heroes that need to be held down, and it's just a matter of targeting. They have a lot more ways to stop the grip. With the Void and with the Mars, there's just a little bit more stuns there to ensure that Kimmo has a hard time to get the grip off, and for IAP, if they can't get that single target control off, the rest of your team fight falls flat. They just don't have the biggest AoE control. Maybe Tornado and Rolling Thunder can count, but it's not very reliable. and they just don't have a way of keeping these heroes pinned down for them to just do damage. They have done a good job of getting Marb to recover here, Mike. You know, he's managed to climb up, so he's top for his team. It's not like his team's very well farmed, though. They're all kind of tied in at 7.4 to 7.6k net worth on the tree course, whereas everyone else on Lilgun is just 1k ahead.
Matthew barely avoided the chains down from Sanctity, but it may not matter as they made the jump in. He'll try, but he's got no escape. As the cookie was already expended in Sanctity, he'll take another kill on the Ember. As all they can do is just keep the bot lane pushed in and just hope that these objectives will not get touched here by Lilgun, but I doubt that's happening. As Lilgun, they will address the creep wave, and they've already gone onto that tier 1. No creep wave necessary for this one.
Yeah.
Bot lane though, Escort, he gets caught out. Sanctity, he does find him in time. He still has that Rolling Thunder to throw out, but the bashes are there. He has 0 time. As Kimo, all he can do is sit there and watch his teammate die.
He just can't do much. He's got the TP out at least so he can get out, but looks like he might want to play with a creep wave. That's a bit of a risk. Tier 1 tower is just going to fall. Push coming through here from Lilgun, and they could make moves onto that tier 2. They don't have the Protector of the Aegis anymore, but I don't think they really need it. They've just got the damage to deal with it, and yeah, 11's just going to look to keep pressure. They take control of the triangle, cutting off even more farm from Marb, who's having to play up top in the long lane. A bit of a risk. No one there to punish, but IAP at this point just needs to find farm where they can. Have to be wary of the map shrinking really small, though. And if you look at the wards here from Lilgun, Mike, look at how aggressive they are up top. Watching every single entrance to the top jungle, ensuring that they know where IAP is farming and they know where to go else. Like, they know no one's going to come in for this defense spot. Free tower comes out, they take control of triangle, they just shut down the parts of the map that IAP is not going to stand in, and keep working while they're strong. It's that timing we talked about, except it came on much earlier for Lilgun. It felt like it just came out from the lanes this time.
Let's keep it up. 12k net worth advantage. I mean, you look at Marb's net worth here on the TB, and it's just so abysmal right now. I mean, it's still 9k. He's just about to hit 9k, in fact. It's been such a slow process for Marb, and I can't quite blame him. I don't think this is really on him. He's got to find some space, but his team has been struggling to make it. As now Lilgun will just run him down. They know he's in the triangle somewhere, but trying to find a nice TP point, and he will go behind the tree line. Looks like he will make it this time around. Lucky for him, because Kishka and of course 11 were right around the corner, but he does get out in the nick of time.
Manages to bail out, still trying to work as best as he can on the Terrorblade. Network gap between him and Sanctity is not too big now. Again, all the cores on IAP are kind of stuck within the same farm range. They are still behind compared to the cores on Lilgun, so they've got at least an item advantage coming through on Lilgun on every single core. And they're just using that well. Next, Roche is a bit far off here, Mike, right around a 2-minute respawn. There's some breathing room here for IAP, but Lilgun still has control of the map. They really have nothing to be scared of. They take outpost, they secure the top jungle this time, and you can just patiently wait for Roche while keeping all the lanes kind of shoved in.
Absolutely. I mean, there's only 2 minutes away for the Roshan pit. Like, make that 1 minute 35. You know, even the Roshan, I mean, they're just still going. Sanctity, he's got the axe up, he spotted out Marb, he gets the double chains off, he found a 2-for-1 special, and they've got the relocate in. Marb just gets deleted by 11. Oh, it's gonna hurt, John. I mean, once you've got the axe Ember, there's just no running.
No. He's just all over the map, and again, they're playing so well with how far they can jump, with all the angles they have for initiation. 11, he's got a casual reverb. He's so tanky and has a lot of damage, and have to be careful. Even your own high ground, you're not safe as he gets a nice spear off.
I mean, this guy just doesn't miss. 11, he hasn't bought a Blink Dagger. He just doesn't need it. Meanwhile, bot lane, they do at least kill off Sanctity, and 4-2-3 now going to move in with a big chrono out. He's got 2 targets. Escort's gone, and Matthew, I'll see you later, sir. No chance of survival. A double kill for 4-2-3, and I mean, you got the Ember, but what does it matter?
Was that intentional? Was that intentional?
Yeah. It's a nice kill, but you drop your heroes immediately. You kind of lose out in the netward swing anyway. And you're giving more onto 4-3-3. So our Void is starting to really build up. I love the build up here as well. BKB into Linken's. He knows that the grip's probably the only issue you're going to have to face here. Maybe the Sunder. So he's going to be very protected in these team fights. And again, Lilgun here, Mike, have managed to wait out the Roche timing. 10 seconds away, they've still got control of a lot of the map. They can just look to play for the Aegis next, get the shard up, and keep running. Like, there's just no reason to rest. 32 to 15, 13k lead. More than 2 times the kills here on Lilgun compared to IAP. IAP still trying to bank on their Terrorblade, trying to bank on that farm timing for more, but it's just a long way off, Mike. Like, he's going into BKB Dragonlance at 26 minutes in. Only has... Oh.
He knows, John. He knows something is awry here, but luckily for him, again, 11 does not have the blink. So you've got that going for you, but Yona, no, he's going back for the creep wave. He does not see them at the moment, and the pings are out. They know exactly where Yona's gone, and 11 just runs right into him. He gets the Ghost Walk off. It just doesn't matter.
They just clean up, and while that's happening, of course, the rush does begin. 4-2-3 and Sanctity can get that work done, so Aegis, Shard, ready to go. Looks like they'll probably hand that off to 4-2-3 or 11 for the Spear. Either one's a really good Shard upgrade, and you can just keep running. Aegis just gonna be left. 11 gonna walk back and pick it up. So it does look like they have passed the Shard off to... They've actually passed it off onto Sanctity. So the Remnant's burning, along the Remnant's getting refreshed as well. It's gonna be really good for him to keep running around when kills are found. And now Lilgun can maybe look for a pick-off, go into the high ground after.
Kimmo. Hello, Kimmo. Bye-bye, Kimmo. It's 11, just cleans him up. Mid lane, Sanctity, he'll just get to work onto the tier 3 tower and just try to force back some rotations. Does get the glyph out. Nice little win there, as maybe now they could really commit to the high ground, but instead, Sanctity wants to try and defend this bot lane. He'll go on to Escon, but he's got the Rolling Thunder, and he will pop it straight off the bat. Might have to just go for the TP straight away, as Matthew is going to leave. Escon, though, is still trying to fight this one out as the Soulbind does go out. Escon, he's going to TP now. It may be too late, though, and it is. Oh, he's waited too long. I was waiting for... I'm sitting there wondering when he's going to TP, John. It just never happened.
Oh, top.
Yeah, they've got Yona. Chrono's there. Mortimer's Kisses have been thrown out. 11 could not give a crap, though. He's just sunbaking right now in the Mortimer's Kisses. As 4-2-3 and 11 will get started onto that top tier 3 tower. And a few little mistakes here from IAP are going to cost them at least a lane of barracks as 11 again's going to move in with the spear out. 4-2-3, he won't commit, but Sanctity will. Another 2-for-1 special. They'll take Kimmo down. It's a 4-for-0 trade across the map. This could be the final defense out from IAP, John. If they keep going from Lilgun, this game could just be over.
Yeah, I don't know how many angles IAP has left. They still have the grip ready to go. I don't know if you've really seen a big one from Kimmo at all. Like, it just doesn't feel like he's able to focus in, get the control they need. Lilgun's just always on the offensive, always the one forcing issues that makes it so hard for Bane to find that angle. It's kind of the same story from game 1 where Kimmo's Tide just couldn't commit the Ravage. This time his Bane can't find the Fiend's grip he needs to really turn these fights.
Rolling Thunder, Escon gonna land it onto 2, but only gets Kishka in the end as now the spear is out. They'll try to aim down the Snapfire. Matthew dropping low already. There's your Fiend's grip onto 11, but who's hitting him? Where's the damage? They're just holding on for now. They're just trying to make sure he can't get involved in this team fight as 4-2-3's trying to fight by himself, but he's man fighting. Mom is still going to get close, but not close enough to get the kill as they'll move back onto the IO, but now the Arena Spear is down 11. The patience pays off as Escot's going to try and run, but there's no running. They call the GG. And Lilgun, they take a 2-0 in quite a convincing fashion here against IAP as Sanctity does a little bit of a victory dance there at the end. Unfortunately for IAP, it's going to be an 0-2 loss for their first series in Division 2 of the SCA DPC.
And just shows you, Mike, how close or how strong Division 2 is. Like, even though Lilgun, again, they had a rough run in the last season, the Upper Div, when it's known as Upper Div then. But they come down. They show us that they're still a very strong team, even if you ban the Lycan and Broodmother. They're still up there as a team. They've got these really great win conditions, especially with 11. Like, definitely the MVP of that game. Great arenas coming through, great game sense. Just managed the lane against Marb to make sure the Terrorblade was just a non-factor. Like, the farm wasn't coming in for the TB. The kill performance as well. He ended up 0-8-4, Mike. Like, there was just not enough impact. And I think for IAP, it looks like there's some hesitation there. Like game 1 with Tidehunter for Chemo, no Ravages coming out, at least early on. Game 2 with a Bane for Chemo, the grips were just not lined up. And I think IAP has to work on that coordination, execute as a team if they want to face against some of the stronger teams here in Div 2.
You know what makes me even happier, John, is I just realized 11's name outside of the game. Have you had a look, John? Viva La
Yep.
Vida, one of our favorites, Jonathan. A bit of a Coldplay coming in here from
11.
Yes. Very, very good to see. I did make a joke earlier, John, in the game. I did say I rate him 11 out of 10, but you didn't even laugh. So thank you for paying attention.
It was so fast, Mike. I couldn't even giggle in because they were just running around. In fact, they're so fast. We've got X123 here for an interview already. Hello, X123 or 423, as you're now known. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine.
Very good to see you here. Talk to us about that game. Like, you guys going into this series against IAG, or rather IAP, were you guys concerned whatsoever, or were you very confident moving into this series?
What did you say? I didn't understand.
Oh, were you guys feeling confident to go against IAP today?
Yes, we were really confident.
All right. I mean, it didn't even look like a contest, really. You guys were just so damn dominant. John, you got any questions here for the match?
Yeah, I'm curious. You know, Lilgun, you guys got relegated down to Div 2. Are you confident that you guys will make it back to Div 1 this season? Are you guys very confident about your chances here?
I think we will score first 2 places in this DPC season.
Fair. What teams are you watching out for on Div 2? Is there any team in particular you want to play against, or you're taking more time to prepare for here?
Talon and Dragdoll, I think.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, you guys have looked great in game 1. Do you think teams are kind of reading you as like, you know, a lot of teams are banning out the Lycan and Broodmother? Do you guys actually prefer to have those picks taken away because you could go for all these stronger cores, or would you actually prefer to keep running those 2 win conditions you guys love?
I don't know. Don't have
Fair
idea.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Well, with that, sir, congratulations on your victory. First series of the DPC. We'll let you go. We'll let you celebrate, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
A lovely guy.
Thanks.
All right, we've got him out of the channel now. I was a little bit worried there for a sec. We've got him out of there. With that, John, of course, that was series number 1 between Lilgun and IAP. We have a pretty massive series up next, though, John. A pretty hype series. Polaris Esports again. Was that 423 again that I just heard? Is he?
Yes,
back?
that.
No,
No.
Okay.
I don't think he is. Yeah.
Goodness me. Everything's going wrong. Your camera's gone now as well. Fantastic. We've got Talon versus Polaris Esports coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it is going to be a 10 to 15 minute break before we do get into it, unless I'm corrected by my admin right now. But I don't think he'll be listening, so we'll probably say 10 to 15 minutes. And with that, John, pretty hype series. Do you want to say anything before we get into that series?
I do not know what to expect. I think Talon, again, when I talked to Hype, when they were playing in Open Qualifiers 1, they haven't actually scrimmed. And by Open Qualifiers 2, they scrimmed once. They're a very fresh team. I think a lot of eyes are on them. But Polaris, we saw them in Pro Series. They were second place. They went all the way up against Boom, and they're not the team you can underestimate. That name change, Mike, gave them power. So this should be one great way to close out Div 2 for the day here.
I'd say so, John. We'll head off to that break, and right after that break, we'll be back with Polaris Esports against Talon. We'll see you then.